Okay, so welcome to our webinar. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over about how to make fitness part of your lifestyle, also answer some questions that we have been getting a lot from clients. So if you guys have any questions or anything, please let us know. You can let us know at the end, just because we want to make sure we're providing you guys with all the information, resources, and tools for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen here. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to make fitness part of your lifestyle. So what we're going to go over is mainly like the mindset that goes along with it, the training, nutrition, commitment, and just some commonly asked questions that we have been receiving. So in terms of mindset, something that we have seen a lot is, even with myself, is that we expect when we start like any fitness journey or anything that it has to be perfect. So meaning like maybe we're on point for like a good amount of time and then we mess up or we have a trip planned out, and it's perfectly fine to go off track. But the main thing is just to keep going, and we just have to be consistent overall. And we're going to fail. There's going to be a lot of things that don't follow through. But the main thing is just to keep going, learn from your mistakes. I know personally for myself, I struggled a lot with like binge eating. And something that I had to realize with myself is just see like, why am I doing this? Like, it was more of emotional eating than anything. So I had to kind of take a step back and see what was causing these triggers. But the main thing is just seeing food as fuel and just knowing that it's not going to be 100% perfect, and just mainly just committing to your word.
Yeah. And then, just kind of adding to that, kind of like how Liz says, like, um, you can't expect to lose like 10, 20 pounds that we put over the past few years in just 3 months, to be really honest. And, like, we wish we can do that and everything like that too. But again, it's a journey. And again, to look at it as an investment that you're going to be doing, like you're putting in your daily investments, whether if you guys work for a company or not, or you work for yourself, if you do have a 401k, you don't put in money in your 401k right away and then pull it out later, pull it out like the next month, right? Expecting a big return on it, right? We put in our daily deposits every single month, like, with fitness is every single day, every single hour, whatever we could do. And then later down the road, you're going to look back and see like, oh, wow, like, hey, I remember when I first started off my fitness journey, I couldn't even fit into these clothes, and now these clothes fit very loose on me, or now I'm not the same size that I was. But it's a journey. It's going to take some time. And again, the main thing too is just commitment. You have to just commit to your own word. I know sometimes when we say, hey, I'm going to be on point this week, but then what, an event comes up like a birthday party, something like that. So I noticed with a lot of clients is that we see like, oh, hey, an event came up, so then I slipped up and I screwed up, but I'm going to be bounce right back on the next one. We have to make sure that we're being truthful to ourselves and we're committing to our own word, and we're just being very honest with ourselves. You can't, like they say, you can't out train a bad diet. And that's the number one key in order to get to your goal, weight, have the dream body that you want, having no more aches and pains. Being in aches and pains is not normal. Having a hunchback is not normal. Having bad posture is not normal. It's things that happen over time, right? And then exercising and eating the right foods with the right mindset is going to help kind of change all that over a long period of time.
Cool.
So then next one is that goes in with kind of like training, kind of making fitness part of your lifestyle is number one is like the training aspect. Is for me, what I do is I schedule my workouts. And again, I'm just using myself as an example. I work out early in the morning, like first thing in the morning. And like early mornings is like 3 a.m., sometimes possibly 2 a.m. Even if I have to coach a class in the morning, I got to fill in. I get in my workout first, then I coach other people. And the thing too is because I know that if I try to do it later throughout the day, I know life happens, things come up, and then I'm going to be pushing my work on my 1 hour to myself, my 1.5 hour for myself to the side. And then, I'm going to usually think about and maybe listen to the other voice in my head saying like, you know what, take a break. You've had a long day. You deserve a day off. And the thing is, we can't be listening to that voice. We have to listen to the voice that's going to be telling us like, hey, if you work out now, I know you're tired, but the thing is you're going to feel so much more better after you finish your workout. So again, number one is always scheduling in your workout. training with intensity and intent. And what that means is, again, I see it in the classes too, where, you know, like sometimes people are afraid to lift heavy and they assume like because they lift heavier that they're going to become Mr. Olympia and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like out of nowhere. It takes years, years and years and years to get like that. And the thing too is, you know, like if you continue to lift the same weights for everything, whether it be a bicep curl, whether it be a shoulder press, and the same weights using for everything, and you don't even challenge yourself, your body's going to get used to it. And then there is going to be no change on your body. The thing is, that's why it's called progressive overloading. And it's called resistance training. There has to be some resistance to the training in order so you can break down the muscle fibers so then you can grow more muscle fibers. That doesn't mean that by lifting weights, you're going to become manly. That means that you're going to become more slimmer. You're going to be more lean. And again, which is in the end is going to help you have a faster metabolism to burn more fat. Progressing in your weights, rep ranges, and range of motions is other ways of having progressive overload. It's not necessarily only just like, hey, you know, I have to increase my weight, you know, like again, using myself for an example, is that, you know, like I don't expect someone to go up in bicep curls from like the year that they started up until a couple years down the road. You know, there's going to be certain muscle groups where you're not going to be able to progress in the weights in, but you can progress in the form. You can progress in the amount of endurance you have now, the range of motion, the intensity of it, you know, like a whole bunch of different things. And then our motto is always like never miss 2 days in a row, meaning like never miss 2 days of a workout in a row, because then I notice for me personally how it happens. And once I miss 2 days in a row, I'm in that downward spiral where I'm like, I start, you know, telling myself, you know what, hey, it's almost the weekend, you know, go out, have a drink, you know, like you had a long week, you know, you'll start on Monday. The thing is we have to stop telling ourselves that always start Monday, always start Monday. The thing is, why not start now, right? You know, like again, too, if it's going to take you some time to get to the gym and just get to the gym, that, you know, you're thinking of all the wrong reasons of why not to go to the gym. You just need only one good reason why to continue to go to the gym, right? And you're going to thank yourself afterwards.
Yeah. All right. So the nutrition, this is like what for myself, even for a lot of clients, is like the most challenging one. So we're gonna go, this is most of it's gonna be about the nutritionist because this is what is the most challenging. So it does need to be taken seriously. We do not to be consistent with it because like whether you want to gain lean muscle mass or lose body fat, the nutrition is like the most important thing. Like you can do so well with your workouts, but if your nutrition is not on point, you're not going to see the results. And that's just the honest truth. I mean, we understand the holidays are coming up. We're not saying not to enjoy the holidays. The holidays is like 1 or 2 days. So don't use as an excuse to be like, okay, I'm going to stop working out. I'm just going to eat whatever I want that whole month. Still enjoy yourself that one day, but you know, don't make it a whole month.
Yeah. And don't use 1 or 2 days of celebration into 2 months of eating whatever you want and then saying like, hey, I'm just going to hop back on when I finish and everything like that too. I mean, last time I checked, there is no 2-month holiday out there. It's only literally 3 days, I would say. From here, it's New Year's, it's Christmas, and it's Thanksgiving. So again, the main thing too about it is just having the proper plan for it. Again, like how Liz kind of said, is you have to take the nutrition serious. You know, you need to prepare yourself for success. You can't just be doing good and then holidays always come in. We know when the holidays are coming in. Now is the time to kind of prepare for it, plan for it. You know, start getting your body into work, and then when it does come to the holidays, be good before the holidays. And then when the day comes, like Thanksgiving comes, give yourself that break. It's kind of like giving yourself that reward, but you have to earn that reward. You can't be bad every single day leading up to it. And now like, oh, okay, hey, you know what? It's the holidays. Let me just screw up here too. We have to earn it. Like I always said, rent's due every day. So you got to earn that rent. You got to earn that meal. And again, we know the days that it follows. If not, look on Google. We know the days that the holidays follow.
Yep. So there's 2 ways to go about this in terms of like how to gain lean muscle mass or lose fat. So if your goal is to lose fat, you just have to be in a caloric deficit, meaning you have to eat less calories than your body expends. And if you're trying to gain lean muscle mass, you want to be in a caloric surplus, meaning you got to be in got to eat a little bit more, slightly more calories. This way you have that energy to gain that muscle. I know there was a question in terms of like, oh, can I lose body fat and gain lean muscle mass at the same time? So The answer is if you're just starting off, that will be possible because it's like that newbie where like once you start working out, you start eating right, you'll be able to gain lean muscle mass and lose body fat at the same time. But once you become like an experienced trainer or experienced in training, you're gonna have to pick one or the other. So you're gonna either have to choose like, is my phase right now to gain lean muscle mass, meaning like I'm gonna have to eat a little bit more or be that caloric maintenance to be able to use those calories to gain muscle, or am I gonna have to be in a caloric deficit to maintain that muscle mass but lose that fat? I don't know if that makes sense or if you guys have anything to add about that.
So in the very, very beginning, if you're very, very new into beginning, and very new is like your first year or so into lifting, again, it's called the newbie gains, how Liz was kind of like mentioning. It's at that point where your body's not used to the new threshold of working out. So your body's about to get adjusted to it. So that's a place where you can kind of build the most muscle on, like, and use an example, like let's use Liz for an example. She's been working out for quite some time. For her to actually gain lean muscle, like true lean muscle, it's going to take a while. It'll take her the whole year maybe to gain, if she does everything right, maybe about like 2 to maybe possibly even 5 pounds if she's very, very lucky. And that's like hitting your protein like almost like 100% every single day, making sure you're not overeating, not putting on too much excess body fat. It all depends, right? But then for the people who are very, very new, that's like, I feel as if they need to take the most advantage of dialing in the nutrition, making sure that they're training with intensity, scheduling in their workouts, getting into proper sleep, and as well as, making sure that you are watching where you're eating. Again, we're just not just only consuming a lot of protein and a lot of carbs and a lot of fats. Everything needs to be balanced. And I say mainly prioritizing your protein. And by doing all that with the training, the recovery, and the nutrition, you are subject to gaining possibly one of the best amount of gains in muscle right off the bat. But then afterwards, I'll be very honest, like a straight shooter, where it's like, it isn't going to be muscle the entire time till you're old and gray. At one point, your body gets it kind of levels off, and then it hits that threshold where now then it's going to be like, all right, hey, I'm eating the same amount of food, and now I kind of hit a plateau. What do I do now? Then at that point is where you need to either just see what's kind of going around, like how's my training, is it intense? And that's where you need to look at all the other different factors and whether maybe include another day of training, or maybe have a different training split, or maybe like reduce down the amount of cardio you're doing. So then this way too, you have a little bit more energy, meaning you might have to have in a surplus in order to gain more lean muscle mass, because again, too, that surplus is going to help out with fueling your workout so you can have more energy while you're at the gym, so you can lift a little bit more heavier, you can last longer in the gym, endurance wise, everything, in that sense. So again, it all really depends.
Yep. And then in terms of how to start off, when we talk to our clients, everyone's like a different fitness level. So meaning like some people who've never worked out are level 1, some people that have been working out for a level or level 2, and then there's level 3. So if you're just starting off your fitness journey, what we recommend is just working out and just intuitive eating. So not necessarily tracking. Level 2 is more like, have you been working out for about a few months to a year? Then you're going to have to possibly track your food because you've already been doing this for a while. And level 3 is tracking everything, tracking your lifts, being 100% strict. Kind of like what Kevin was saying, like once you've been doing this for over a year, you're going to have to dial everything in. So it's just more realizing where you're at in your fitness journey.
Yeah. And then I'll head over to someone had a question in regards about like, how about training amount? Do I also need to increase it? Yes, eventually you will need to increase it, because it's kind of like running, right? Like if you're planning to run like a marathon or something like that too, you don't just start off running like 1 mile right off the bat. If you've never ran before in your life, you start off at what you can do, you see your pace, and then little by little, you're gradually increasing it so you can increase your threshold to the stimulus. So it's the same thing happens when it comes to working out. At one point, lifting the same weights that you've been doing over time, you're not feeling it as much. And then people assume that if I just do more reps with the same weight, I'm going to get a better result. And the thing too, it's not about chasing the feeling. It's about just making sure you're having the right mind muscle connection, but also the challenging weight. So again, you could increase the training amount, But let's say if you can, let's say if like you're like, I really can only commit to maybe 3 times in a week because I have kids, kids, family, work obligations, whatever it is too, then I would say you need to increase the intensity of the workout, meaning like you need to possibly maybe push yourself to lift a little bit more heavier, maybe take shorter rest times. And that can also go from there. But if you have the opportunity to increase the training amount, then I think that would be a better bet. You're going to get more bang for your buck because remember, if you want to grow a certain muscle group, let's say you want to grow your arms, training your arms once a week is not really going to get you much done. You need to be training a muscle group. If you really want to hone in on growing a muscle group within a year, we're using a year as a time gap. I notice the best gains usually happen within 2 to 3 times throughout the week where I'm training arms. And that doesn't mean I'm going to the gym only doing an arm workout. I might include, let's say Monday, I might include one thing for biceps. And then on Wednesday, I might include 2 things for biceps. And then on Friday, depending on how my body's feeling, I might include 3. Over time, if I compound that for a month, times that by 12, you're going to see how much volume I've done throughout the entire year. So then again, it depends, if you have that opportunity, I would rather just increase the amount that you're working out in.
I just know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, all right. So next one is, so if you're at level 1, like you just starting off your fitness journey, the main thing is just to make small changes and be aware. So meaning like if you just started working out, you should just start taking nutrition on point. The main thing is like, instead of having like 2 cups of rice, have 1 cup of rice. Or if you eat out on the weekends 2 times a week, eat out only once a week. So if you're just starting off, you don't say, oh, start tracking your food, work out 5 days a week. Again, maybe we start off 2 to 3 workouts and just make the small changes initially for that. And these are just like the serving sizes. So instead of tracking, you can use your hand. Like this is like one serving of protein, vegetables, carbs, and then fat. So again, just more intuitive for the beginners. This way it's not so overwhelming initially. And this is just, a kind of a visual of that. And then this is level 2, meaning if you've been working out for 6 months to 1 year, the main thing is that you want to start tracking your food. And the reason why is because if you've been doing this for 6 months to 1 year and you're like, I haven't been seeing results, or maybe I hit a plateau, we first have to be aware of how much food you're eating. So how can you change something if you don't know what to change? So it's just more first, this intermediate level, we got to figure out where we're at.
Yeah. And then, I think like tracking is like, I tell people, I'm like, even if you're a beginner and you want to see results quicker, and results meaning like sustainable results, not like a quick fix, like results that will last you forever. And I did it in my very, very early years of training too, as well. And it helped me out to more of like intuitive eat. Again, like, yes, do I still use a scale every now and then? Yes, I'll use a scale here or there, but majority of the time I can eyeball things already because of the investment I did, which is just using and tracking everything that I used to eat, because I used to be like, oh, that's only like a cup of rice. And then when I actually measured it out, it'd be like 2 cups of rice. And then I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, like, oh, it's only a little bit of carbs, whatever. But then if you keep doing that day after day after day after day, meal after meal after meal after meal, remember, it compounds. And then that's how we start putting on that weight, that unknown weight that we're wondering where it's coming from, because we're training good, we're eating quote unquote healthy, but it's where's this weight coming from? And then our mindset usually is like, let me just do more cardio. Let me just do more. Let me do more. The thing, it's not about doing more. It's about doing quality work, not quantity work in this case, because again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And by simply just tracking, you'll get there to your goal, your body that you want. You'll feel better about it. You'll actually have more of a knowledge of what an actual serving size is. So then, again, I'm not saying to do it forever. I say if you do it for honestly about like 3 months, and I know it might seem like a lot, but it's only 3 months that you're able to really hone in and down in on your nutrition. After 3 months, you'll never need a scale in your life. You'll never need a scale in your life. And I guarantee you, if you do it to the T, if you do it to the T and you do it, you'll be able to go to a restaurant. You'll be able to be like, all right, hey, this has a little bit more fat in it. This has maybe about X amount of protein. That's around like 4 or 5 ounces from it too. And then this way too, you'll be able to enjoy food outside of home, inside home, and still be able to make the gains and make the progress that you want to do.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so kind of going about this is mainly just counting something called macros. comment or chat, put in the chat box if you've heard macros or not. So if you have heard of macros, it's basically protein, fat, and carbs. So everybody has to consume certain amount of protein, fat, and carbs to either lose weight or gain weight. And then we're not going to go over all this, but we'll definitely email you this slideshow. So if you are looking to figure out how much macros or how many macros you should be eating, aka how many calories you should be eating, there's like a special formula on how to calculate that. So this is more if you're more intermediate.
Yeah, and the reason why, just to explain why macros, like if people say, "Oh yeah, I count calories," but the thing is, I can personally eat like five, like that's a lot of them, like 3,000 worth of calories of Ben and Jerry's, right? Which is only 2 little pints. I know it's very sad. I can eat all of that, and guess what? But I had 3,000 calories, right? But the thing is, it's not good quality calories. And the thing too is, remember, qualities are comprised of the three things of protein, carbs, and fats. And then for everyone, it's very, very different. The amount of protein that I consume is very different from Liz. The amount of carbs I consume is very different from what Liz consumes and what you consume. And the same thing, it goes with fat. And then our body responds very differently from, either having a higher fat diet, lower carb, or high carb, low fat. For me personally, I respond really well to high carb, low fat. Liz responds the opposite way for higher fat, lower carb. And again, the only way how to figure out if it works for you is by doing a test run on yourself and actually tracking the foods and seeing like, all right, hey, do I feel bloated? Do I feel good? How is my body feeling? How's like my weight doing? Am I gaining a lot of weight? If I'm gaining a lot of weight, that means that maybe your body's not responding to this specific, the fats and the carbs. Then those are the two that you always want to interchange, your fats and your carbs. Protein, you always want to keep the same. If you're in a surplus, meaning you're trying to gain some lean muscle, then the protein wants to be at body weight. If you're on a cut, meaning that you're trying to get a little bit more lean, let's say it's around summertime, you're going on vacation, you want to look good in that Speedo bikini, whatever you guys are wearing, or just going straight up nude, whatever it is, then you want to make sure that you're increasing your protein. And the reason being is that, remember, being in a deficit is another way of kind of saying like you're almost in starvation mode, like you're kind of starving yourself, but not like I'm gonna kill someone, I'm gonna starve. It's like the point where your body's getting uncomfortable at the point because it's not used to having such low calories. And so increasing your protein in a deficit is really important because it's going to help maintain the amount of muscle that you've built in the surplus. Because if you decrease your protein right off the bat, once you start doing a lot of cardio, you start being in a deficit, the chance of you losing that hard-earned muscle that you've gained is very, very high. It's very, very high. So we want to keep all that muscle we can. So then it shows when we are very, very lean.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so if you are gonna be tracking, we recommend something called MyFitnessPal or any fitness tracker. Weigh yourself first thing in the morning and then just take the average because the weight's gonna fluctuate. So that's why we recommend taking your in-body scan, because your in-body scan tells you your muscle mass and how many pounds of muscle and how many pounds of fat you have. Weighing yourself is one metric, but again, your weight's going to fluctuate. Like as a female, when I'm on my period, I gain 5 pounds. So it's just like your weight's going to fluctuate. So it's not always the best thing to look at when trying to like see your progress. And in terms of like how much, if you are going to be using weight, how much weight should you be losing? Typically, depending on the person's body size, losing 0.5 pound to 1 pound per week is a very good metric, or is a good rate for you to lose weight, because you don't want to lose weight too fast, because if you lose weight too fast, you're going to gain it really fast. So doing it nice and slow, it's going to be sustainable and you're going to be able to keep the weight off. You want to go?
Sure. Yeah. And then number 2, if you're not truly seeing the results, again, you need to ask yourself truthfully, like how consistent were with your plan. Number 1, do you even have a plan? If you're just going off the top of your head with everything like that too, I notice that normally doesn't go as planned, obviously, because you don't have a plan. So make sure you have a plan. And that just includes like, hey, what's my goal weight? Ideally, realistically, what is my set time frame? Again, realistically. And like, what are the steps for me getting to my plan, and then like how many workouts am I going to do, how much cardio I'm going to do, what's the amount of calories I'm going to be consuming, how much protein, carbs, and fats I'm consuming. all that. And then it's like, as you're asking yourself that, is like, did you miss any of your workouts? How much effort did you put into your workouts? And were you 100% consistent with your nutritional plan? If one of the three answers you was no, then you have to, again, ask yourself why, what struggles did you face through it, and just be more consistent with it. Because again, too, if you are great throughout the week and then come the weekend, like we slip up, I know it's Friday, come in a few hours, and most people are off. It's like, all right, diet is going out the window. Let me do whatever I can. Let me go out for drinks. Let me go out happy hour. Let me have everything that I've been wanting to have. The thing is, the deficit that you put yourself in through Monday through Friday afternoon, that deficit of being consistent, being good with yourself, being committed, could be regained back, honestly, in 3 days. If you really think about it. If you've been really good, but then you screw up on Friday night, Saturday you screw up, and then Sunday is like, yeah, you know what? Let me just order some pizza. Let me just do whatever. Let me not get in a workout. Let me do whatever. You do all that, you go down from losing some weight and bouncing right back up, losing some weight, coming right back up. You look at it over a time span, you haven't lost anything at all. And that's what's called the yo-yo diet, where it's just bouncing back and forth, making like no progress. So honestly, you just have to be very truthful for yourself, and the only person who knows the truth is yourself. And you have to ask yourself, if this goal that I'm putting for myself, putting out in the universe, that I want to really achieve, if it really means a lot to me, I want to commit to it. I don't want to keep giving myself the same BS excuse, like, this is my year, all that. Like, I notice when people say that, it never happens. The thing is, just do it. Don't wait till the end of the year. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till after the holidays. It's a matter of just doing it and just committing to it. And then you'll see your body will change completely for the best within like 3 months.
And then other factors is your stress level. A lot of times stress does cause weight gain, increases your cortisol level. So checking your stress, how's the sleep? Sleep is very important. Also your recovery. So yes, it's obviously really good to work out, but also are you taking a day off to fully recover your muscle? Because when you're working out, let's say you're doing like today's leg day, if you're doing a lower body workout today, you do not want to do a lower body workout tomorrow, because your muscle, when you're working out your muscles are being torn apart. So I need at least 24 hours to fully recover and have new muscle fibers being grown. So those are also factors that, to look at, not just the nutrition training, but also your stress, your sleep, and your recovery. And then I think I spoke about cortisol. When you are stressed, it does increase your cortisol level. It's also not really good for your health, your heart health. So just managing that stress, I know it's easier said than done, but just something to be aware of and coming out with ways on how to manage that stress. Poor sleep, it does hinder fat loss because it increases cortisol levels. So I know we said 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Some people can even go from 6 to 7 hours. So just getting adequate sleep is also really important. Recovery, just making sure that, you are properly recovering, as we talked about, just because, again, it does affect your whole body. So I think we already spoke about this, about losing 1 pound per week. Let's say you are doing this and you're like, your nutrition's on point, your training's on point, and you're asking yourself, okay, what do I do next? I'm working out, I'm pushing myself, I'm eating right, I haven't seen results. The next step for you to do is by reducing down your calories. So if your nutrition and training's on point, you want to reduce your calories by 200 to 300 calories or so to make sure you're putting yourself in a caloric deficit. And then we have some meal plan examples in terms of what does like a vegetarian meal plan will look like. Again, it really depends on each person, but we can definitely send this email out if you haven't gotten it, in terms of like, what does a vegetarian meal plan will look like to hit like 140 grams of protein per day. And this is non-vegetarian, which we'll email out. And then something we're also going to email it to you guys is a grocery list. So I know many times people think like, oh, don't eat bread. Bread is bad. Or, you can't have this, you can't have that. You can have anything, to be honest, as long as you're in a caloric deficit. But we'll email you guys like a cheat sheet where it's like, we have bread, this brand called Sara Lee bread. It's only 45 calories per bread. So if you want to have like a sandwich or French toast, you can take this bread and it's still bread, it's just lower calories. So if that's something you're interested in, just let us know. And we can email you some like swaps that you can use so you can still enjoy food, like you can still enjoy ice cream, but just have like a lower calorie ice cream. This way you don't feel like you're in a diet. Like you want to make this a sustainable lifestyle, where you can do this forever.
Yeah. And then just kind of adding on to that is that, like I'm a big believer that there is no bad food out there. It's just the amount that we always eat, like you can go out and still enjoy food, like have a slice of pizza. The thing is, like usually most of the times when we do enjoy a slice of pizza, it's never just like one. It's always like five or six, 5 or 6 slices of pizza on top of wings, on top of drinking soda, on top of breadsticks, and a whole bunch of different things. It's all about just portion control and just being able to control the amount that we're eating, right? Again, because if you eat one slice of pizza, it's only 300 calories. 300 calories is not going to make you gain weight. It's not going to make you fat. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to do any of that too. But if you're eating a whole pie to the face, then over time it probably will, right? And that's the same thing too. Like a lot of foods get a bad name for it, like bread, cheese, like dairy, all this other stuff like that too. But the thing is, if you're able to have some healthy swaps for it, and this is what the grocery list is gonna help out with, like bread, like we eat bread almost every other day or so. I eat wraps, I make myself protein pancakes. I have ice cream, like the Yasu bars, which are like a reduced calorie. The thing is, I don't like the word diet. I don't like the word diet. I just say it's a lifestyle. It's just the way I eat. Yes, I might not eat a full pints of Ben and Jerry's anymore, but I might get the alternative, which might be a Yasu bar or maybe like a Halo Top. This way too, it's like you're still enjoying life. You're not like shooting yourself in the head because you can't enjoy all these foods that you love or you want to still enjoy. It's just a matter of just making that modification. So this grocery list will definitely help out. And again, you don't have to be cutting out all the foods that you love. And we have a question here. What is a good mix of workout, upper body, lower body, full body in a week, keeping in mind not to miss 2 days in a row? Yeah. So best split in my terms is like a push pull legs. So meaning like, let's say if you start off on Monday, you do Monday, you do a push, Tuesday, you do a pull, Wednesday, you do legs. Thursday, you can take off, and then you repeat the cycle again: push pull legs, push pull legs, push pull legs.
Or they take the class.
Yeah, if you're taking the class, again, what I recommend is if you're taking the class to do a Monday, Tuesday, which is upper body, lower body. Maybe take off on Wednesday, come in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you take off Sunday.
Or what you could do is you can do like Monday, come into class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, you can go for like a 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
So like you can, if you're, again, everyone's at different fitness levels. Like some people are already working out 5 to 6 days a week. If you're only able to do 2 times a week, like to go to the classes, like let's say you can only come in on Tuesday, Thursday. The other days, do not just sit in the couch, like go for a walk. Go for like a 20-minute walk, 30-minute walk. Basically move that body is what we're saying. So don't just completely just do nothing.
Yeah, we can also send out again what we suggest on kind of what to do if whether if you're with us or you're doing us plus, let's say, a 24 or Planet Fitness. We can also give you guys another split too as well on what to kind of do. But again, kind of like how Liz says, again, different ways of doing it: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Use those days to maybe go out get some cardio outside, and maybe on the weekends, maybe take off Saturday, or maybe just take off on Sunday and then maybe Saturday too, like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Make those like your cardio days where maybe you can do some cardio outside, you do chores, get something again, like listen, move your body. Or you could even do some like body weight exercise at home, maybe do some abs, do some planks, anything that again just is going to get that heart rate up. It's going to be able just to keep your body performing better each and every single day.
Yeah. All right, great question. And then some questions that we did get for this seminar was like, I'm pre-diabetic or diabetic, what should I eat or avoid eating? The best bet is first contact your medical professional, because this does, like, aka your doctor, just because this is very dependent on the person. So just make sure you talk to them and see what you should be eating. I'm not a doctor, so I can't be telling you what you should be eating because I don't have any of your medical history. So that's number one. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I mean, main thing too is, like you have to just consult with your doctor again too, because again, diabetes is something you don't want to be playing around with, especially if you're pre-diabetic. Remember, if you're pre-diabetic or if you're type 2, it is reversible. It's about the lifestyle changes that you need to be making. And again, like, just my opinion on it, is that, like, obviously the carbs are what are going to be affecting the insulin spike. So you also need to be checking your glucose, your insulin, and everything like that too. So again, consult with your doctor first before, you're doing anything. Because again, you don't want to go into full-blown type 2 diabetes. Again, it is reversible. I've had clients that have had or were pre-diabetic. We dialed in their nutrition, number one, then we did the training, and then they were able to reverse it. So again, it is reversible too.
Another one is, how can I get lean muscle mass and keep the body fat? In order to gain lean muscle mass, you have to have enough protein. So typically, if you want to have 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. So if your goal is to gain muscle, you have to have the protein, because your muscle is made out of protein. So if you're lifting weights and not getting enough protein, you're not going to build any muscle. So number one, get enough protein. And number two is make sure you are lifting weights, and like kind of what Kevin was saying, is progressing in those on those weight training sessions. Any questions on that? And what we can do right now is open it up to you guys to see if you guys have any questions or struggles. These are common myths that we get a lot. But before we get into this, we first want to answer questions that you guys might have, like common myths that you guys have heard before.
Question is, what will happen if I don't consume enough protein? If you don't consume enough protein, basically you're going to be able to work out. You're not going to have enough. You're going to have the energy from the carbs and the fats consuming, but you're not actually going to build any like real muscle. It's kind of what people, it's like the terminology like skinny fat. I don't know if like people ever heard that before. Usually a lot of runners have that, where they're consuming very, very low in protein. And they might have like skinny arms, but then maybe possibly like a bigger belly. And the matter is that they have like no muscle mass on them. And again, remember, having muscle mass is important. Again, muscle mass doesn't mean bodybuilder. People have that misconception. It's a matter of just fitting right into your clothes, performing better. Having muscle, again, too, is going to help you have a faster metabolism. And what faster metabolism is, it means it helps you burn fat while at rest, and it's going to help you perform better. It's going to help you fit better into clothes. Having more muscle on your frame, gives you more of that slender look. 100 pounds of muscle and 100 pounds of fat look completely different. And, if you don't believe me, go look at someone that works out and look at someone who doesn't work out that are the same weight, and you tell me that they don't look better, who looks better in clothes, right? And again, it's all about looking good, feeling good, and just performing good down the road. And then here, if I am to increase my weights progressively, how to overcome the fear of not getting injured?
That's a good question. We get there a lot.
Well, I mean, the main thing too is, you have to try, right? Where you're fearing something that hasn't happened yet, right? And that's the main thing too. We all fear that we're going to fail, right? But the thing too is, remember, failing is part of the process of success, right? And whatever you do. And the thing is, I'm not saying like if you're lifting 5 pounds on a dumbbell chest press, go to 100s. You need to challenge yourself. Or like, all right, I've been on 10 pounds for now a month or so. Let me try out 12. Let me see how it feels. Like maybe ask the coach. That's why us coaches, we like walking around and everything like that too. Like, again, don't be afraid to wave us down or anything like that. Our job is to making sure that you guys are doing everything correctly, spotting you guys. If you guys have been to my class, I'm always pushing people to go heavier. That's what they're able to do. And I've had clients that started off with very, very lightweight. And I'm like, no, hey, don't touch this weight anymore. This is way too light. Again, the misconception of lifting more, like there's a time and a place to lift, for more reps, like on a HIIT class, where that's the main goal of that class, is just to increase your heart rate to burn as many calories as you can. Where now the strength training class, whether your Thursday, Friday class, is more about quality reps. And that's why we have a rep range between like 8 to 12 reps. But again, it needs to be a challenging 8 to 12 reps, not a weight where it's like, I did 12, but I could have maybe done 30, to be really honest, if I went to full failure. The thing is, we need to train with intensity, and that means training close to failure. There'll be a time and point where we'll train to failure and training close to failure. Close to failure is like, if I say 8 to 12 reps and let's say that you barely got 8, like you barely got 8, maybe if you really were to push yourself, you could have maybe got 9 or 10, that's training close to failure. And that doesn't mean that you're lifting 100 pounds. It could be maybe 15 pounds, so it doesn't always mean heavier weight. And again, just the fear of not getting injured. Asking the coach who's ever there, hey, can you check my form? Hey, can you make sure I'm doing this right? I think that's the best way to kind of go about it. Again, this is why we're there, to making sure that you guys are always safe doing that.
Yeah, and I think just quick, this the main takeaway is just start off very little. Like if you're deadlifting like 100 pounds, like Kevin said, don't jump to 150, jump to maybe 110. So it's like those small steps. And if you're not able to do it, that's fine. But again, you won't get injured if you do a small step every single time.
Yeah, yeah. And if you think about it too, like realistically, if you're able to lift, let's say 10 pounds, right? And you're able to do it for 20 reps, I am 100% sure you can lift 12 pounds for at least 8 reps.
Yeah.
The thing is that we have the mindset of, I can't go up more. I'm going to get injured. I'm getting injured. We need to change that mindset of, look at the benefit of you trying to lift that weight. You challenge yourself, you got over that fear, and now you can gain more muscle, right? And what's the only downfall? That you maybe might not be able to lift it, right? Like, the thing is, that's why us coaches are there. You can even ask another client, hey, if the coach is busy, hey, can you just spot me real quick? Again, we're all a community here to help each other. So hopefully that answered everyone's question. Am I going to get big arms and big thighs when I push myself to lift heavier weights and consume more protein? No. So the thing is, again, just because you're lifting arms the entire time and everything like that, you're consuming protein, doesn't mean that you're going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everyone wishes that they can do that too. It's a time and a place and the amount of training and the style of training in order to get a certain physique, like that, like the way of how our training program is mainly more for building strength, and being strong doesn't mean being muscular. Being strong can be just being able to lift like something, heavy weight off the floor, or a good amount of challenging weight off the floor, right? But again, in order for you to get bigger arms, again, you need to be consuming a lot of calories, not just protein, a lot of calories, in order to get like a bigger, like being more in a surplus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and just to kind of answer that, because as a female, when I first started lifting weight, that's what I thought. And I used to do a lot of cardio, like a lot of running, because I didn't want to get big. I just realized that was a myth, saying that if you lift weights, you're going to get bigger. The only way you're going to get bigger, as Kevin mentioned, is if you consume a lot of calories. For myself, I lift weights 5 to 6 days a week, and I try to go heavy. And I've been doing this for close to 10 years. And I haven't been big. Like people that are very big like that, like the ones you see on Instagram or TV, they're on steroids. Like it's like they are in a whole different thing. And like Kevin said, our type of style is not to get bulky, and to get very bulky like that, like really big, you have to eat a lot of food or be on some type of
and that means
drug.
you have to train extremely like heavy to the point of like to failure. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why for us, it's like, hey, bicep curls 12 to 15. I'm not saying go for 1 rep max on a bicep curl, like again, on the Monday and Tuesday classes, again, you can follow along with us in order to build strength on certain lifts, right? But it's not every single week, PR. We progressively start doing it strategically in a way so you can start adding on weight. So then again, if you want to really challenge yourself and see where your strength is at, then you could. If not, then you can follow a different rep scheme.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, no worries. I used to worry about that too a lot.
If you ever see some competition lifters, they're pushing heavy weights. A lot of them are very slim.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, like if you look at it, hey, when you guys have time, just look up like, even if you go on Instagram, man, hey, I see it now. I mean, now these days, I mean, like people that don't even look like they lift, and they're lifting like heavy weight. But the thing too is, number one is they have just crazy strength. Number one, like hidden strength. But number two is their training program. They train to lift very heavy weights. We're not doing that. We're as you can see, no one's like lifting like 1,000 pounds like every single time that they're doing like heavy bicep curls and all that too. Everyone's kind of following their program with that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that's about it. The only other common myths that we had, I know what we, Holly, you asked, was lifting weights gonna bulk you up? It's really not. It's not gonna bulk up. Is cardio the best way to lose weight? The main thing is being in a caloric deficit. If you only do cardio and you don't lift weights, or you don't really try to progress your lift, you're just gonna look skinny fat. So again, lifting weights is gonna increase that metabolism, which is gonna help you burn fat. So you definitely want to prioritize that. And another one that we got is you have to eat 6 meals a day to boost up your metabolism. So it doesn't matter if you eat six meals a day or do intermittent fasting. As long as you're in a caloric deficit, what matters is how much protein and how much food you eat throughout the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is it. Did anyone else have any other questions? And these are just other comments, like, is organic food the healthiest type of food? Even organic food is not completely chemical free. So organic, just try to eat as much whole foods. But if you're looking at, should I get organic food or not organic food, there isn't really much of a difference, to be completely honest.
Yeah, if you got that extra money,
Go
Right.
for it.
throw it this way so I can get my organic chicken breast in.
All right, anything else? All right, guys, well, that is it. Those are like the main things. We just wanted to make sure we answered any questions. And then if you guys have any questions for us, like after this or anything, like, feel free to call us, text us, email us. We'll be more than happy to hop on a call or talk to you guys in person. Or if you wanted us to host a different webinar on a specific topic, let us know, and we'll love to provide that for you guys. Because again, our job is to provide you with the resources and to help you guys out to succeed. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
See you guys later.
See ya. Happy Friday, guys.
Okay, good. Bye.